Good evening. Tonight, we are having an interview with an atheist, Mr. Serpent. Hello, Mr. Serpent. Welcome to the show. How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you.
So, atheists believe that there is no God?
Well, it is more fair to say that atheists are not theists, so atheists do not possess any theistic beliefs.
Well, let's consider the origin of the universe. How can you believe that something came from nothing?
First off, the Big Bang Theory is not about something coming from nothing. It proposes that space expanded, and the primordial singularity of all matter followed the expansion of space, and that is when time itself became a meaningful concept. Secondly, there is a theory that our flat universe actually came from quantum fluctuations. I am not a cosmologist or a theoretical physicist, but I find the idea compelling.
Well, that really doesn't explain how something can come from nothing.
There is no such thing as nothing. There is only something. Nothing unreal exists. What we call nothing is only an unreal concept with no analog in reality.
Let's move on. So, you believe that Jesus never existed?
No, that's wrong. Rather, there is no reason compelling evidence to think that he ever did.
How do you answer the charge that an atheist, secular world is a communist, totalitarian one, without love and compassion?
Atheism has nothing to do with totalitarianism or the banning of rights, even religious rights. You are criticizing dictatorship, not criticizing atheism. Some dictators ban religion because it competes with their pervasive nationalism for the souls of men. Some dictators do not ban religion, like Fidel Castro. Neither action has anything to do with the philosophical and epistemological position known as atheism.
What do you think about prayer being banned from public institutions in America, like public schools? Isn't this a violation of our freedom of religion?
Here is something you probably do not know. It is perfectly legal for an individual to pray in public schools. And, as you say, it would violate your rights to prevent you from doing so. What is not legal is for a public facility representative to lead others in prayer, or for them to condone religious assembly. You probably don't know that because Christians often distort the facts on this subject.
Do you dislike the idea of God?
I think it is unfortunate that some people are so uncomfortable with being sovereign over themselves that take comfort in imagining something else to sovereign over them. To serve something greater than themselves is often how it is phrased. I dislike false consolation.
How do you know that your morality is right, if it has no objective source or basis?
The only objective source for morality is demonstrative objective reality and what logically follows. Judeo-Christians like to suggest that the Bible offers them moral guidance and objective standards for right and wrong. Well, the World Christian Encyclopedia suggests that there are 34,000 Christian denominations or sects worldwide, and that there are 1,200 in America alone, each with their own dogma and interpretations of the same scripture. If that is not subjective, almost arbitrary, then I do not know what is.
God offers an explanation for existence. How do you as an atheist explain existence?
When asking how questions like how did the universe originate, or how did life originate, Christians will often respond by proposing a who or a what instead of addressing the how. This explains nothing. I could just as easily say magic kangaroo instead of God, and neither will explain how the universe came about, nor will it answer any other type of origin question. The word God simply becomes a meaningless platitude in such cases, and the theist is left in the same place I am, not being able to explain everything. God did it is not an explanation. It is a declaration with no innate understanding or support.
Are you asserting that, when a Christian has a religious experience, that they are in fact having a delusion?
I do not have to assert that Christians are having delusions. I suggest that they themselves cannot distinguish their religious experiences from pure delusion. That is their cross to bear, if you will forgive the phrase.
Many atheists assert that God is impossible. This requires faith, does it not?
I think that God is a term that is too meaningless to be empirically falsifiable, regardless of what you say about it. Even contradictions, and so it belongs to the empty set along with the rest of the apparently non-existent.
But, how do you know that God is impossible?
I do not know that God is impossible.
Anything is possible.
No, that's false, and not knowing that something is impossible doesn't mean that we know that it is possible. Intelligent, conscious universe creators might be impossible for all I know. I just have no reason to think that such a thing is possible, and it would be a capital mistake to grant unearned merit for personal biased reasons.
How can you prove that Christians do not know what they are talking about?
I do not have to. It will suffice that anything they say about some alleged God is indistinguishable from complete and utter bullshit. Just because something is unfalsifiable doesn't mean that it meaningfully affects the objectively real world. Besides, believers themselves tell us that they do not know what they are talking about. Knowledge precludes belief. Belief and faith become meaningless if one knows.
Are you a militant atheist?
No. Open debate, public forums and the legal system are not militant.
Do you think that the world would be better off without religion?
I think people would be better off without false consolation.
Why do you discuss such things? Do you wish to kill God, so to speak?
I think it is good to gain knowledge, hear different opinions and to think for oneself. Clearly, the Garden of Eden story makes clear that this so-called God considers this wicked and evil. That is reason enough.
Well, thank you for the interview, Mr. Serpent.
It was my pleasure.